So it never ceases to amaze me how much I can learn from hearing the same thing again and again, and how much one simple sentence or simple thought can go deeper, deeper, deeper each time I hear it. So yesterday we were hearing some teachings by one of our teachers, Geshe Tapke, and he was talking about how love, wishing others happiness, was the basis of the Buddha's teachings and the basis of all the different practices we do, how essential it was to have that attitude. And he didn't just say, like I heard as a little kid, love thy neighbor as thyself, but I never saw anybody who did that. I just saw a lot of people who said that and then worked for their own benefit. And as much as I thought that was a good idea, when I was a little kid, I had no idea how to bring that about in my mind, especially with all the people I didn't like. So, having heard many teachings in the subsequent years and tried to practice them, one thing I say a lot, which Geshe said yesterday, which is the thing that really hits me all the time, is to see that everybody has feelings and everybody wants happiness and doesn't want suffering. And it's such an obvious thing. We hardly need anybody to tell us that. But somehow we do because we don't get it. Yeah. That when self-interest comes up, other people vanish as living beings. Yeah. They all become classified into those I can get something out of that will benefit me, and those who will interfere with what I want. Yeah. And none of those beings have feelings. Yeah, none of them have feelings. They are all just instruments that either benefit me or harm me. And strangers, likewise, they're like fire hydrants or sidewalks. You just walk right on them or right by them. They don't have feelings. Yeah. And how, when you say that out loud, that that's how we look at others, it seems totally absurd. But I don't know about you, when I watch my mind, when the self-centered thought arises and I want something, that's really the way my mind goes. What can I get out of people, and what do I have to protect myself from if they try and interfere? And you see this all over the world when you look. I mean, the Ukraine war is such a good example right now because this is the way Putin is thinking. He has a goal. He knows what he wants. Yeah, other people, even the citizens of his own country, are just tools for him to get the power, prestige, the historical recognition, and the statue in the middle of the red square of him, or whatever else it is that he wants. Yeah? And that's how he's going about it. And what he's doing is a very gross example of it. But I think, I don't know about you, I can see smaller examples of that same thing in my behavior. Yeah. And yet, we all want to live peacefully with each other. Yeah. And how in the world can we live peacefully with each other when we don't see that everybody has feelings, that everybody wants happiness, everybody wants to be free of suffering, and not just have that at the level of our mouth, but really spending some time in our lives going over that again and again and again, and not just thinking about this broad thing of all sentient beings. That's very easy. Everybody wants happiness, nobody wants suffering. Great, what's for lunch? Yeah? Love thy neighbor as thyself. Yeah, all these beings, I love them. The broad thing is so easy because it's just intellectual. Yeah? But if you start, you may start with somebody who you really genuinely care about. Of course, we don't always genuinely care about us because they often do things that we get mad at, right? Yeah. When you get mad at them, where's all that affection? Or have they become an instrument of, who's harming me, who's interfering with my happiness? Yeah. And so to really even start with somebody you care about and look at those times when you don't care about them, and why? Why? What's the hindrance? What's the block? And it becomes very clear that it's the idea that I am more important than them. That first of all, there's a solid me who just coincidentally is the center of the universe, right? Yeah. Yeah. Just coincidentally. And the problem is the world doesn't know that I'm its center. And here's my loved one who doesn't know that my happiness is the most important in the world. Yeah. And to sit there and say, how am I looking at this person now? What happened to all that affection? Why did it evaporate? Yeah. And that's when we really see that self-centered mind is the real enemy. Yeah. That's the one that interferes with our happiness. We think that the self-centered mind is our friend because it's going to help us milk others for all we can get out of them. Yeah. But being very discreet about it and not looking like we're using other people at all. Yeah. And so we think that that self-centered mind is going to protect us. And yet, whenever we act motivated by it, we do things that create problems with other people. Because we don't care about them. They're not even living beings at that moment. Yeah. So what's the problem? It's not the other people. Yeah. The problem is how that self-centered mind overwhelms whatever wisdom we have, knowing that other people have feelings and they want happiness and not suffering. And it overwhelms, the self-centered thought overwhelms whatever awareness we have that benefiting others creates a peaceful world. Yeah. We all say, oh yeah, this benefiting others creates a very peaceful world. I'm open, you can all benefit me. We'll have a very peaceful world if you benefit me. Okay? But to really look inside of our own hearts and see that when we can call forth that vision that other people are just like us, then the happiness that actually comes from benefiting them. Yeah. From not having this big I in the center of everything, looking at everything through my happiness, my suffering, what can I get out of it? But looking at every situation as, what can I do to benefit others? And the happiness that comes from that, from our side. We don't even have to wait for other people to say, oh, you're so wonderful, you're so generous. We go, oh, yes, tell me more. Yeah, I like the praise. Yeah, that's why I do this, so that you'll praise me. No, that's not what we're looking for. Yeah, that's just using other people again. But it's really to tap into the human, the authentic human joy that comes from knowing that our life has some meaning and that we can contribute to the welfare of the world in whatever large or small way we can. Yeah, and so thinking about the humanity of all living beings again and again, not just reciting it, not making them all one kind of blob, yeah, and even realizing that we're not even thinking just of the humanity of all humans, okay? What about the quote, quote, humanity of all the animals and insects? I mean, they want happiness, they don't want to suffer just as intensely as we do. And so opening our heart to really think, about individuals and what's the block for me? How can I remove that self-centeredness and flip it so that it becomes cherishing others? Yeah. And one way to do that is to really contemplate on the kindness of others. Yeah, to really look in our life again and again and again at how dependent we are on the kindness of other living beings. So that came up this morning, when Venerable Chuni was talking about the relationship with Sangha and lay people. So that becomes quite obvious to us. But also, you're a lay person. You're still completely dependent on the kindness of others. All of us are. Okay, we didn't pop out of our mother's womb and say, I can take care of myself. Yeah. And say, I can grow my own food, I can make my own clothes, I build my own shelter, I can make my own medicine, I don't need anybody. Yeah, we weren't born with that kind of thought, and we didn't grow up with that kind of thought. I mean, how did we grow up? Due to the kindness of other living beings who took care of us, who taught us, who gave us an education. Yeah? And how do we respond? No, I don't want my tax dollars to go to your benefit. And yet, we're indebted to everybody in this society for whatever work they do. Yeah, they build the roads we drive on. They built the cars that we drive. Yeah, they grew the food that we eat. Everything. I mean, you take any object. Yeah, my teacher kept having us do that. Take any object, take a cup or take a table, and think of how many living beings' efforts went into the existence of that object. Yeah? So that table was built by Venerable Yeshe. Okay? She got the wood at Albany Falls, I believe. All those people worked at Albany Falls. Yeah? Then it wasn't just the wood. There's varnish, there's nails, there's the legs. So many different companies were involved in giving just the basic parts to make a table. And those companies had people running the companies, but they also had people working in the companies. And the loggers, the metal workers, where did the metal workers get the metal to make the legs of the table? How many people spent their days in mines below the ground? Yeah. How many people drove the wood or the metal or any of these things from one place to the other and stocked the shelves? Yeah. And what about who built the mines? And who helped the forest be healthy. And as we look, any single object we use, it didn't just originally start with one person. It's a whole network of so many living beings going into that. Yeah. And we don't even know these people. We don't even know them. But our having a table to eat lunch at is due to their kindness. Yeah. But these are the same people who, if we're driving on the highway and they're a little bit slow, yeah, can't you drive? Get out of the way. But these are the same people who, made the table that we can use, who grew the food that we're eating, who made the roads we're driving on, who made the clothes that we wear. Okay. So really thinking, take something and go back as far as you possibly can with how many living beings were involved in producing that and how much we benefited from their labors. And that is the kindness of other sentient beings. It doesn't matter that they weren't thinking of us as an individual when they did this. The bottom line is that we benefited from their life's work. Okay, and they want to be happy and not suffer. And we create peace in a chaotic world when we help to benefit them. And we create peace and good feelings and joy in our own heart when we do that. So it's so easy to say, I love giving these BBC talks. I love talking about this. Doing it? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's amazing. Do you have that problem too? Yeah? Somebody asks you to do one small thing. I don't feel like it. Yeah. Yeah, not my turn. You do it better than me, which means I don't want to do it. Okay, so this is why they say practice the Buddha's teachings. Practice means we do something again and again and again. Yeah, it's like learning to type, yeah, or learning to drive, or even learning to walk as infants. Again and again and again, we keep at it. So you never get lazy practicing the Buddha's teachings. There's always something to do. Okay, and I shouldn't say you never get lazy. You do get lazy. You never get bored. You never sit there and go, oh, what should I do? Yeah, well, try thinking about the kindness of others when you don't know what to do. It's really quite amazing. Okay.